Continuing the Fat Boy and Company scratch build from a photograph. Tonight we are hoping to finish this build. I am going to be adding the white strips above the window and above the Fat Boy sign, and also finishing the terrain and all the other small details. I hope we'll fit it all into one video, otherwise I might have to do another one tomorrow. The strip above the window is the same width as the one above the name board, and that is 9mm, so I'm going to measure out 9mm on this piece of card that I had the roof tiles printed on, and cut a 9mm strip, and then I shall glue that to the building. I have marked out the 9mm strip, and now the next step is to cut that. Make sure to use a sharp knife and use many light cuts, not just one heavy cut. That tends to tear the paper. This is a brand new number 11 X-Acto blade, so let us see how many light cuts it needs to cut this strip of paper through. 1, 2, I'm just letting the knife's weight do the work. I'm not pushing down on this knife at, or can't say at all, but not very hard. And after 4 passes, there's still a little bit of paper holding it together, so let's give it another 1 or 2 light passes, and that has been separated from the original piece of paper. Now we need to measure the width on the building itself and then glue it in place. Two small pencil marks. Again, I will join them with a ruler and a pencil, and then fit them again to make sure that they fit on the building nicely. Yep, it might need a little bit of trim once it is installed, but that can be done. So now let us cut that piece of card, and again light cuts, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and it is done. Alright, I'm still battling with my supplier being out of spray glue, so I'm going to have to use craft glue to secure this piece of card to the building. Both the bottom and top strips have been cut, so I'm going to get a bit of glue from the bottle and just spread it on there, and then using a little piece of scrap cardstock, just spread the glue around nicely, making sure that it's right into the window sill and all the way up to the edge, and then even above where the name board will be. You can see that is about 3 bricks wide, so I'm stealing a bit of the glue from the top and smearing it on the bottom. I will add some more just now, give the glue a little bit of time to get tacky, and then we shall add the white card to follow the building design where there has been some areas plastered and painted white above the brickwork. Now comes the tricky part, and that is to lay this down and glue it down perfectly straight. This one needs to come down a little bit. Alright, that edge can be trimmed, and then we need to put the ruler down and see where the other strip is. Let me just see if I can find the name board, because that sits right up there, and that piece must be right above that. So I think the glue has actually gone a bit high, but we can rectify that. Again, with the piece of scrap cardstock, we'll just scrape all the way along and scrape off that little bit of excess glue. And while we are at it, let us also add the name board once again. That has come undone during the working on the building. Again, a very small bit of craft glue. And then it is simply to reapply it. And then we leave that to dry. Adding gutters to the roof. For gutters I'm using a piece of wire, but that will have to be straightened and then glued in to form the gutter, and it will also hide the big cardboard edge of the gutter, so of the roof, so the gutter is going to lie right there, and then the edges will be cut at an angle so they can hopefully splice up nicely, and thereafter they shall be painted a rust brown color, which, if I recall correctly, is the color of the gutters on the building at the moment. A trick to straighten a piece of wire is to roll it between two flat surfaces. So I'm using my ruler and the cutting mat that I'm working on, rolling the wire and seeing if I can try and straighten it out. It does not seem to straighten too much, but I'm sure with the glue on the roof I will be able to glue it in straight. I'm using this secure stick cable glue that is used by the security industry to secure their wires to walls and wherever. Only problem is it is quite a runny glue, so I'm using a toothpick to apply it to the roof. And once it is applied, it has to dry for roughly about a minute until it is nice and tacky. So while that is drying, I am going to cut the second length of guttering from the wire. And also the third length. But let us see if there's now any luck with the glue being tacky. That feels a lot better, and it is in fact sticking to the roof and not to my fingers. And then at the back I can just trim that little overhang using a small side cutter. And then say the coloring will be sorted out later with a little dab of paint. Let's add some glue to the front section of the roof. so that we can put the long section of guttering in place. The glue's become a bit sticky, but that is what we want. Let's see if we roll this just between my fingers, if we can get it a bit straighter. And just to help keeping it nice and straight, I am leaving the conduit inside. Sometimes, especially if it's a bigger piece of guttering, I will take the conduit, or bigger diameter of guttering, I will take the conduit out and just use the insulation from the conduit. So there's the second gutter installed. Now we need to do the last section. Let's first see if we can cut that flush, that there's no copper conduit popping out. Okay, and then we must measure and cut. And with this one I'm just going to make a mark with my knife so that I know where to cut it. And be careful for those flying pieces. They can become, especially with steel wires, they can become very dangerous projectiles. Let's put the last bit of secure stick glue onto the roof. Give it a few seconds to dry. It seemed to be drying a bit quicker. It normally requires about a minute. This seemed to be doing much better. And so while it is getting tacky, let's roll this piece of wire to see if we can get it nice and straight, a bit better. Okay, now let's install this one. Right, let's try fitting the roof, and there it is with the guttering in place. Do not think that looks too bad. One other thing that still needs to be done is the door is a double door, so I need to install a pole in the middle to make it a double door. So I will see if I can find a piece of plastic trim that I can insert there to accomplish that. I have found a small piece of plastic, you can see there, and I will now glue that in place using some liquid cement, and on the upside I will again use a bit of the craft glue or some of the secure stick. This is just eyeballing it to get it center. A little bit more to the right so that the doors are equal. just a dab of glue on top to hold it in place there. Okay, that seemed to be doing it. So the door's middle section is installed, and my phone just let me know that its battery is about to die, so I think we'll call that a night for tonight and continue once my phone has been charged again.